In the quiet town of Everwick, where cobbled streets twisted like storybook pages, lived a young boy named Theo. He had a mind full of questions and hands that always itched to tinker. His grandfather, Master Horace, was the town's most skilled clockmaker. People said he could hear the heartbeat of time itself. Every morning, Theo would run into the little shop filled with ticking clocks and gleaming gears, eager to help. One day, as Theo dusted a shelf lined with golden timepieces, he sighed. "Grandpa, why does everything take so long?" he groaned. "I want to build my own clock, but I keep making mistakes." Master Horace chuckled, setting down a tiny screwdriver. "Patience, my boy. A good clock takes time." "But why?" Theo crossed his arms. "Can't I just rush through it?" Horace stroked his silver beard. Let me tell you a story." Theo perked up. His grandfather's stories always had a secret hidden inside. Long ago, there were two clockmakers, one who was patient, and one who was not. The impatient one, Alden, wanted to be the best in Everwick. He rushed, glued parts together instead of fitting them properly, and ignored the tiny details. His clocks looked perfect at first, but after a few weeks, tick, tick, clunk, they stopped working. Theo's eyes widened. What about the patient one? The other clockmaker, Elias, worked slowly, carefully placing each gear, testing every spring. His clocks took longer, but they never broke. People waited months for his clocks, but no one ever complained. They lasted lifetimes. Theo tapped his fingers on the counter, deep in thought. "So, the secret is patience." Master Horace smiled. "Patience is what makes things last. A rushed job falls apart. A careful one stands the test of time." Theo nodded slowly. "But waiting is so hard." His grandfather chuckled. "Let me show you something." He reached into a wooden drawer and pulled out a tiny, golden pocket watch. It gleamed under the shop's candlelight. "This was my first clock. I made mistakes. I wanted to finish quickly, but my teacher told me, time rewards those who respect it. So I started over. Again. And again. It took me 2 years." Theo's mouth fell open. 2 years. Master Horace placed the watch in Theo's hand. "It still works perfectly. 100 years from now, it will still tick." Theo stared at the watch, listening to its quiet rhythm. Tick, tick, tick. Each sound was a whisper of time, reminding him that patience built things that lasted. That night, Theo returned to his workbench. He picked up his half-finished clock, adjusted a gear, and smiled. He wouldn't rush. He would take his time. Because now, he understood. Patience wasn't about waiting. It was about doing things right. And when the clock finally ticked to life, its steady rhythm felt like a quiet thank you from time itself.